Hello everyone. This video discussion tackles the chapter 8 of our subject in the final term, no? Chapter 8 is entitled Putative, Semi-Essential, Bioactive, and Other Relevant Dietary Compounds. Basically in this topic, no, we will be discussing the compounds, biochemicals that are found in our diet but are not considered essential. Okay, some of those biochemicals are yet to be designated officially as an essential nutrient, but basically wala pa gyud sila didto sa status nga essential nutrient. Okay, there are many biochemicals found in our foods that are not really considered as essential nutrients. But nevertheless, they have physiological effects. Okay, we will discuss each of those compounds and their intended physiological effects, both the beneficial as well as the harmful effects when they are consumed. Okay, I just want to make sure that if I'm recording. Okay, sige. Just i-recap no of what we discussed. Di ba na human na tag-discuss sa macronutrients as well as the micronutrients. So all of those are considered essential nutrients. So these are really the dietary biochemicals that are indispensable. That means they have to be taken because we need them. Okay? So without them, or if we lack at least one of these nutrients, then we're not going to survive. Okay? We're gonna develop like diseases, which would make us, not survive, no. So uh, we have, if you count days, pila ka tanan, no. Okay, but more or less mga 35, di ba? 35, 40. So um, for the carbohydrates, dietary fiber is actually the type of carbohydrate that is included in our list. Okay? And as you can notice, walay glucose, walay other carbohydrates. Because technically speaking or physiologically speaking, glucose is not really an essential nutrient because we can make glucose inside our body. Okay, so there is a list where glucose technically belongs to. Okay, but the one that we cannot make, and the one that we need is actually dietary fiber. Okay, so that's why it's classified under this group. We also have the nine essential amino acids. Okay, because we cannot make all of these amino acids. So that's why they are again considered as essential. We also have the essential fatty acids. We have the ALA and LA, alpha linolenic acid and linoleic acid. And of course your water. So these are your macronutrients, and then of course we have your fat soluble vitamins, the vitamins ADEC, and of course, the water soluble vitamins, we have B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12, choline, and ascorbic acid. Okay? So, at this point, dapat kabalo na mo no sa mga other names ani nga mga nutrients. Okay? Mao gyud ang pinaka-basic yun. Even elementary students know that. Okay? So, that's why dapat kabalo na master na mo aning mga nutrient or mga other names sa nutrients. Okay? And of course, we have your macro minerals. We have calcium, phosphate, sodium chloride, potassium, sulfur, magnesium, and of course your micro minerals. We have iron, zinc, iodine, selenium, molybdenum, manganese, copper, chromium, and cobalt. So, all of these biochemicals are considered dietary indispensables. So, mao gyud ni atong need nga mga nutrients. Okay. But according to this article by Bruce and Ames from the National Academy of Sciences, other than those essential nutrients, we actually have like a number of biochemicals that are found in diet, but that when consumed can actually help us live longer. So these are like the longevity bioactive compounds. Okay, so these are not really uh, considered essential yet because they lack research in order to say that they are officially called or in order to say that they can be considered as essential nutrients. So they need more research to for them to be established with that brand, no, or with that term. But yeah, they have like beneficial effects to us. So those these are those nutrients no that are not yet essential but getting there na nga status. So need lang nila og more validation sa research para maingon nato sila nga officially essential nutrients. But as of the moment, putative pa sila or dili pa gyud sila ingon nato nga officially designated as essential nutrients. So we have queuine, ergothionine, lutein, zeaxanthin, astaxanthin, pyrulo, quinoline, quinone, lycopene, fluoride, nickel, silicon, vanadium, boron, tin, lithium, bromide, and strontium. Okay. So, let's start with okay, later no we'll discuss each of this one by one. Overview lang, of course dili ra kaayo ka na in depth no kay daghan ra ba kaayo ni sila. Um Aside from the putative essential nutrients, we also have those compounds no, that are considered semi essential. That means again, they are only considered essential in specific conditions, not all conditions. Okay? So we have glucose. So diri di ay nabilong si glucose no. Then we have taurine, carnitine, arginine, glutamine, lipoic acid, inositol, ubiquinone, EPA, and DHA. So we'll discuss later why they are considered no as semi-essential nutrients. And we also have those that are considered dietary bioactive compounds. When you say bioactive compounds, they have a certain effects to us when consumed. So we have plant sterols and stanols, resveratrol, beta-glucans, conjugated linoleic acid, isoflavonoids, phytoestrogens, polyols, probiotics and prebiotics. We also have your dietary neurotransmitters and hormones, dietary inorganic nitrates and nitrites, and the other phytochemicals. We also have these other dietary compounds relevant to health and nutrition. So these usually have like bad effects to us when consumed. So we have dietary cholesterol, dietary purines, biogenic amines, food additives, okay, anti-nutrients, carcinogens, allergens, toxic minerals and compounds. And we also have your dietary psychedelics or dietary hallucinogens. Okay, so let's discuss first the putative essential nutrients. So first is queuine. Okay, you can actually call it simply as Q, no, because it takes practice to actually spell it correctly. But yeah, that's how you pronounce it, queuine. Okay, so queuine does have other form, no, in the form of queucine because this compound can actually form a nucleoside. A nucleoside is a nitrogenous base, okay? A nitrogenous base linked with a certain sugar, okay, such as this one, okay? So therefore, where can you usually like tackle the term nucleoside in topics like nucleic acids, diba? So therefore, we can say that queuine acts um in uh, genetic expression, okay, in the nucleotides, okay. So queuine is a hyper modified nucleobase found in the first position of the anticodon of tRNA specific for asparagine, aspartate, histidine, and tyrosine in most eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Okay, so it actually acts specifically in the translation part. So when you say translation, it's the production of proteins based from what is encoded in the messenger RNA. Diba? Yeah. So kinahanglan dai si queuine no in during translation. Okay? So current research studies are not enough to officially establish Q as a micronutrient. Although katong mga existing articles no, they really considered queuine as an essential micronutrient. But again, queuine needs more validation no, from more research to say nga ay kani essential yun ni siya. Okay? But as of the moment no katong mga pipila nga articles ginaingon gyud nila nga si queuine ay essential gyud ni siya. Okay? So, yeah, one of the functions again is to improve translational fidelity. So it's very important to make sure that the translation process is correct, proceeds correctly. No, it also participates in biopterin metabolism, and it has this a great role in cancer development, such that um, if you have like adequate quein in your body, then that might exert anti-carcinogenic effects. Okay, so it may help you prevent cancer. Okay, so where can quein be found? uh it's actually like pantothenic acid no, that can be found from a wide variety of foods. And aside from that, it can be salvaged from prokaryotes living in our gut or living in our large intestines, because our gut bacteria can actually produce quein, and the body actively salvages it from our gut bacteria. Okay, so it speaks volumes on its importance na, because the body really tries, or the body actively gets no quein from the gut microbiota. So that's your Q, the micronutrient Q. So next is ergothionine. Ergothionine is a naturally occurring amino acid and is a thiourea derivative of histidine containing a sulfur atom on the imidazole ring. It is produced by certain prokaryotes and fungi, but not by plants and animals. Thus, it is acquired only from diet, specifically from mushrooms and yeasts, because those are fungi, di ba? So, ergothioneine enters the cells through a special transporter called ergothioneine transporter, or ETT, and accumulates in the erythrocytes, bone marrow, liver, kidneys, seminal fluids, and the eyes. Okay, so there is really like a specific transporter for ergothioneine, and that speaks volumes no on its importance, on its significance in the body, because naagyod transporter dedicated for the transport of this particular putative nutrient. So, ergothioneine functions as a very potent antioxidant. So, it helps the body defend itself against oxidative stress, along with those antioxidants that I discussed. Okay. So, aside from fungi like mushrooms, we can also get ergothioneine from beef, pork, lamb, chicken, oat bran, black turtle bean, and red kidney bean. Okay. Next is lutein and zeaxanthin. I think I have discussed this somewhere, no? I think dito sa vitamin A nga part, but if wala, then okay. Lutein and zeaxanthin are carotenoids. Okay, but unlike those carotenoids that we discussed in the vitamin A part, these carotenoids do not have vitamin A activity, so therefore they cannot be used as vitamin A in the body. Okay, they do not function as vitamin A, but they do belong in the same classification as those uh, uh, carotenoids with vitamin A activity. Okay, but what are the functions of lutein and zeaxanthin and why they are considered as putative essential nutrient? So lutein and zeaxanthin are carotenoids specifically called as xanthophylls. So lutein is isomeric with zeaxanthin, differing only in the placement of one double bond. So lutein and zeaxanthin can be interconverted in the body and are two primary carotenoids accumulated in the macula lutea. Macula lutea is a structure found in the retina, okay, in our eyes. So lutein can only be produced by green leafy plants while zeaxanthin can be made by plants in certain prokaryotes. So this is like a sample of the macula lutea, no? Okay. Uh, in this part, that's why it's colored yellow. Remember that carotenoids give orange, yellow, and red color, no, to plants. Okay, because they are pigments. So therefore, in this part of our eyes, it has like yellowish hue because of the lutein and zeaxanthin concentration in that particular structure. Okay, and there is also like a structure is only found in females, no, which is called corpus luteum, and this structure develops, no, in certain stages of the menstrual cycle. And yeah, nganong yellow man ni siya because tungod na siya sa lutein and zeaxanthin nga nag-accumulate diri. Okay, so what do you think is the function of lutein and zeaxanthin in these structures? They serve as antioxidant in that area. Okay, and therefore these carotenoids prevent macular degeneration. Okay, macular degeneration would lead to blindness, no, and this is one of the common causes of blindness among elderly people. Okay, so yeah, and we cannot produce lutein and zeaxanthin. We can only get that from diet. So that's why in that aspect, they can be considered as nutrient, no. Okay, but again, need pa gyud og further investigation to say that these are really like officially essential nutrients. So, where can we find these carotenoids? Orange, yellow fruits and flowers and in leafy vegetables. So, tungod kay pigments sila, no, and kung aha ang naay orange or yellow nga plants, diha nato sila makit-an. And lutein and zeaxanthin are also concentrated in egg yolks and in animal fats because these are fat soluble compounds. Okay. Next is astaxanthin. So astaxanthin is another carotenoid, no, but unlike lutein and zeaxanthin, astaxanthin is synthesized by crustaceans, okay, and some algae. So astaxanthin is a carotenoid that gives marine animals their reddish-orange hue. It is produced by microalgae, which are eaten by animals like crustaceans. So the pigment then builds up in their bodies, making them appear like this, orange, no? Okay. So another function of another putative nutrient that acts as a potent antioxidant is astaxanthin, and it's linked with being an inflammatory, immunomodulatory, anti-diabetic, and anti-cancer compound. Okay. Our food sources of astaxanthin are, of course, these orange to red colored seafoods. Okay. That doesn't mean, no, that if they do not appear to be orange or red, that doesn't mean they do not contain astaxanthin, because astaxanthin is usually um, precipitated, no, only when these crustaceans, for example, are cooked, diba? I think this was discussed in basic foods, right? Kung hilaw pa ang ang crustaceans, for example, dili ba yan na siya orange pa, but mahimo ra ng orange kung maluto na, because naamay protein diha nga ma-destroy and would expose, no, the astaxanthin, and once exposed si astaxanthin mauna nang mag-give og color sa luto nga seafood. Okay? So, yeah. Chances are if it's a crustacean, dako gyud na siya astaxanthin content. And we can also like get this from fatty fish na like salmon, okay? And other big fish species. Okay? Next is pyrroloquinoline quinone or PQQ. Okay? Or PQQ. So PQQ, also called as methoxatin, is a redox cofactor produced exclusively by prokaryotes. Okay? PQQ is also a putative essential nutrient that acts as an antioxidant, an anti-inflammatory, and PQQ particularly increases mitochondrial efficiency and maintains mitochondrial health. Very important that our mitochondria are healthy, no? Because usually unhealthy mitochondria are linked, no, with accelerated aging, okay, and thus accelerated occurrence of diseases. Okay, so PQQ particularly exerts its antioxidant effects on mitochondria, protecting the mitochondria from oxidative stress. Okay, so the food sources of PQQ are a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and it can also be found in concentrated amounts in the human milk. Next is lycopene. Lycopene is found in tomatoes. It's another carotenoid, no? And medyo red na gyud ni ang iyahang color, no? Not like those other carotenoids nga medyo orange. Si lycopene red na gyud ni siya. Okay? And it acts as an antioxidant. Okay? Lycopene is a bright red carotenoid found primarily in tomatoes and other red fruits and vegetables. So, some say that lycopene is particularly needed by men for the health of their prostate. Okay, because many studies have shown that um, an intake of lycopene-rich foods may have like protective effects, no, against the development of prostate cancer. Okay. Next, we have putative essential minerals. So these are the minerals that are not yet considered nutrients, no, pero na-as sila ka ng mga certain effects and they fit the definition of an essential nutrient. It's just that kulang pa yun ang literature to say officially that they are essential. Okay, we have lithium. Functions of lithium is normothymic, neuroprotective, and immunomodulatory. So, needed siya, no, sa healthy nervous system and healthy immune system. Food sources include nuts, pastries, cold meat, and sausages, tofu, fish, grains, vegetables, and dairy products. We also have bromide. This is another element, no, that may possibly be essential in humans. Okay, possibly important to basement membrane architecture and tissue development as a needed catalyst to make collagen 4. It's also an important halogenating oxidant of eosinophils. Okay, eosinophils are a type of white blood cells, no? Strontium. Strontium is a mineral that has been found to be involved in the utilization of calcium in the body. It has promoting action on calcium uptake into bone at moderate dietary strontium levels but irrachitogenic action at higher dietary levels. Okay, so very important pud nga moderate lang ang strontium effect kay kung excessive pud siya, pwede nga opposite iyang mahimo sa bones, pwede na hinuon nga magka-rickets ang tao. Okay? But in moderate amounts, in sufficient amounts, strontium actually helps the body, no, in building stronger bones. So the drug strontium ranelate aids bone growth, increases bone density, and lessens the incidence of vertebral, peripheral, and hip fractures. And strontium can actually be found in cereals. No, okay. So that's why some say cereals are good to bone health because they contain like sufficient amounts of strontium. Okay. So aha na ko to give base nga article naara siya diri. Okay? Prolonging healthy aging, longevity, vitamins and proteins. Okay? So diri na nako to gi-derive. Okay? Okay, next are semi-essential nutrients. So semi-essential nutrients again these are only essential no in specific conditions, not in all conditions, and usually these are not essential in healthy individuals. So usually they can only be considered as essential if naisakit or if dili optimum ang health sa isa ka tao. Okay, so the first semi-essential nutrient is taurine. Okay, so okay. So taurine is a 2-amino ethane sulfonic acid, which is an organic compound that is widely distributed in animal tissues and can be synthesized by the body in sufficient amounts. However, human fetuses and premature infants cannot produce adequate amounts of taurines. Vegans may also be at risk of taurine deficiency. Okay. So normally, in healthy individuals, no, in adults, we can produce enough taurine, but taurine cannot be sufficiently produced by fetuses and premature infants. So thus, taurine becomes an essential nutrient in these conditions. So taurine is a conditionally essential nutrient in these cases. Okay. In the case of veganism po, no, taurine um, is considered essential nutrient. Okay, so vegans may also be at risk of taurine deficiency. Okay, taurine is a very important compound because it is important in the production of bile acids. Okay, it's also a powerful antioxidant. It maintains mitochondrial health. It is involved in osmoregulation. It functions in the development of skeletal muscle, nervous system, and retina, and it is cardioprotective and anti-diabetic. Okay, so the food sources of taurine include animal foods, so that's why vegans are at risk of developing of taurine deficiency because their diet lacks animal foods. So they might not be able to sustain. The taurine, the amount of taurine that they produce might not be able to sustain their needs. So if they are vegan, then walay taurine sa ilang diet. So that would like, put them at risk. Okay. So, but not all. Okay. Um, you can actually like be vegan no without really thinking about taurine. But definitely if naa kay sakit no then vegan pag yun ka, then pwede ka magka-develop og taurine deficiency. So that's why taurine is just considered a semi-essential nutrient. Okay? Because may tabo ra siya nga essential sa kaning mga conditions. Okay? Next is carnitine. Carnitine is a quaternary ammonium compound involved in metabolism in most mammals, plants, and some bacteria. Given its key metabolic roles, carnitine is concentrated in tissues like skeletal and cardiac muscle that metabolize fatty acids as an energy source. Okay? So, healthy individuals, including strict vegetarians, synthesize enough L-carnitine in vivo to not require supplementation. But those that are critically ill patients, and premature infants may not be able to sufficiently biosynthesize carnitine. So that's why carnitine is a conditionally essential nutrient in only these conditions in critically ill patients and premature infants. Okay? So, also, strict vegetarians, they do not need carnitine because, anyways, they can produce their um, carnitine and that's enough for their needs. So, only in these cases, no, kaning sa last sentence nga, essential ang carnitine. So, the main function of carnitine in the body is it is a carrier of long-chain fatty acids to the mitochondria for oxidation. Mao gyud na iyang main role actually ni carnitine. Okay? Para ma-utilize ang fatty acids, no? Especially kaning mga long-chain fatty acids. Because later on when you what's this? When you tackle nutritional biochemistry, you will really see where carnitine is used, and that is specifically in the beta oxidation or in the um, oxidation of fatty acids. Okay, for these fatty acids to be able to generate ATP. So, para ma-transport si fatty acids to mitochondria kaysa mitochondria raman pwede ma-use or pwede metabolize si fatty acids, kinahanglan og carnitine because carnitine sort of functions as a transporter of these long chain fatty acids. So without carnitine, these long chain fatty acids cannot be transported and therefore they cannot be used by the body. So, mo nang very important ang carnitine sa fat metabolism. So that's why you might have noticed that there is a particular product that markets their products like it like this like their products can help people lose weight because just because their product contains carnitine. Okay, so they base that assumption from the function of carnitine, which is fat metabolism. So the idea is when their product if their product is high in carnitine, then their product can actually help people lose weight by stimulating fat breakdown or fat metabolism, so therefore makatabang sa weight loss. Okay, but it's just a claim. I don't know if ma-translate yun na siya sa real life, but at least sakto po ang ilahang basis. Okay, but need na siya og research na to say nga kuan gyud like effective gyud ang ilahang product. Okay? Carnitine also helps in the recovery of hospitalized patients and it's a factor in male fertility. Okay? So, the food sources of carnitine include animal foods like lean meats, fish, and milk. Okay? They are mainly found from animal foods because plant foods only contain little amounts of carnitine. Next is arginine. Arginine is a positively charged basic aliphatic amino acid that is used in the biosynthesis of proteins. And you learn from our discussion in proteins that arginine is classified as a semi-essential or conditionally essential amino acids. Okay? Semi-essential or conditionally essential are the same, no? Okay, so that's why I'm using these terms interchangeably in this particular section. So infants are unable to synthesize or create arginine internally, making the amino acid nutritionally essential for them only. Okay? But when infants grow older again, arginine becomes non-essential. Why? Because older people can, produce enough arginine for their needs. Okay? And aside from infancy, dietary arginine is also needed in cases like if someone suffers from great physiological stress, like if someone suffers from burns, no, or from injury and sepsis in usually in hospitalized patients, no, they might need like additional dietary arginine because their body might not be producing enough arginine, no, for their needs. So they might need like additional dietary arginine from the diet. Okay, but again, it's only in those conditions. So arginine participates in the urea cycle. Okay, It's a precursor for synthesis of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is very important no, in the vasodilation. It actually lessens the blood pressure due to its dilating effects sa blood vessels. It also functions in wound healing and anabolic recovery. That's why burned patients might need arginine supplements to uh, make their wounds heal faster. No, okay, because arginine is important in collagen synthesis, and collagen is an important part of the skin. So to accelerate wound healing, they might need like additional arginine. Food sources of arginine are high biologic value proteins. Okay? So again, you have to review unsa ning HPV. Okay, di ba? Mao ni sila ang kaning mga usually animal foods. Okay? Next is glutamine. Glutamine is an amino acid that is used in the biosynthesis of proteins. It's normally non-essential, right? Because it's not classified under the essential amino acids. But glutamine actually becomes essential, uh, especially among hospitalized patients. Okay, because their body is no longer healthy, so their body might not be able to produce enough glutamine. So that's the time that glutamine becomes semi-essential or conditionally essential. And just a trivia, glutamine is the most abundant free amino acid in the blood. Okay. So, functions of glutamine include daghan. Okay, protein synthesis, of course, because it's one of the other 19 proteinogenic amino acids. Lipid synthesis, especially by cancer cells, cellular energy as a source next to glucose, nitrogen donation for many anabolic processes, including the synthesis of purines, carbon donation as a source, refilling the citric acid cycle, non-toxic transporter of ammonia in the blood circulation, and integrity of healthy intestinal mucosa. Glutamine is a major energy source of intestinal mucosa cells that are found in this part of the body. Okay. We also have lipoic acid. Lipoic acid is an organosulfur compound derived from caprylic or octanoic acid. So lipoic acid is made in animals normally and is essential for aerobic metabolism. Lipoic acid participates in the preparatory step for Krebs cycle, no? In order for the pyruvate to be converted to acetyl-CoA. So that's why very important siya sa energy metabolism. Yeah. Okay. Lipoic acid acts as a coenzyme of pyruvate dehydrogenase and alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. Okay. It also acts as an antioxidant and it's found from animal foods and green leafy vegetables. Next is myoinositol or simply inositol. Is a carbocyclic sugar that is abundant in the brain and other mammalian tissues. It is a sugar alcohol with half the sweetness of sucrose. It is made naturally in humans from glucose. So we can make inositol in our body. And our needs, our inositol production is enough for our needs. But it can be considered semi-essential in certain conditions. Like, for example, if you're sick, okay? So usually, no, sick individuals, hospitalized patients, um, mauni nga condition no nga kaning mga semi-essential, kaning mga conditional mahimo silang essential amino acids. Essential nutrients, sorry. Okay. So, myoinositol is important because it is important in the structure of cell membrane. It mediates cell signal transduction in response to a variety of hormones, neurotransmitters, and growth factors. It participates in osmoregulation and production of neurotransmitters and some steroid hormones. So, food sources of myoinositol include fruits, beans, seeds, and nuts. And actually, myoinositol can be made from phytate. Okay. We also have ubiquinone or coenzyme Q10 or coenzyme Q. Is a coenzyme family that is ubiquitous in animals and most bacteria, hence the term ubiquinone. So when you say ubiquitous, found anywhere, no? Okay, found everywhere. In humans, the most common form is coenzyme Q10 or ubiquinone 10. So organs with the highest energy requirements, such as the heart, liver, and kidney, have the highest CoQ10 concentrations because coenzyme Q10 is an important um, participant of the oxidative phosphorylation, which is a metabolic pathway that produces the majority of the of body's ATP. Okay, so where energy is mostly needed, coenzyme Q10 is uh, concentrated the highest in those organs. So Q10 again participates in the electron transport chain because it is needed in the uh, it is important in the what's this in oxidative phosphorylation. It's also a mitochondrial antioxidant. So it protects no, the mitochondria from oxidative stress. So dagana sila no ang ga-protect sa atong mitochondria. So the food sources of Q10 are beef, pork liver, vegetables, vegetable oils, and avocado. Next is eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid. So these are long chain omega-3 polyunsaturated fats, and you might be tempted to think that these fatty acids are essential, but actually they are not. No, they are only considered as semi. Okay, why? Because we can actually produce EPA and DHA in our body. Okay, sufficiently, but there are certain conditions that EPA and DHA are certainly considered essential because those conditions really lack no of EPA and DHA that they warrant these fatty acids to be present in the diet. Okay, so EPA and DHA are actually synthesized from ALA, and morning ALA ang essential, di ba? Okay, isa ni siya sa mga essential fatty acids. So maunang makabuhat tag EPA and DHA because ginakuha man nato ni siya sa ALA. Okay, so ang ALA ang essential gyud. Okay, so unsa nga mga conditions nga needed si EP nga mga mahimong conditionally essential si EP and DHA? Infancy. Okay? Because during infancy, no, the brain development is still ongoing, and 40% of the dry weight of the brain is actually made of DHA. So DHA is a major structural component of our brain. So for the infant to sufficiently develop to support the development of their brain, kinahanglan nga na DHA. Okay, kay mauman na ang iyahang gamiton for synthesis of these structures in the brain. Okay, maunang maingon nato nga si DHA, very important siya sa milk, no? And usually kaning mga infant formulas na agid siya DHA tungod ana nga function sa brain. And aside from that, ginagamit pud siya sa retinal development because our retina is also made of DHA. Okay? So, among infants, these fatty acids are really considered essential, are completely essential. But when infants grow older, adults, they do not need like a lot of these fatty acids anymore because after all, we can produce this sufficiently from ALA. Okay. Aside from that, aside from being a structural component of the brain, EPA and DHA also are involved no, in anti-inflammatory processes. Okay? And these are important too because these help us like develop prevent the development of diseases, because many diseases are actually caused by inflammation, like heavy inflammation or kanang um, high levels of inflammation. So in order to help us like fight off like excessive inflammation, then we need these fatty acids, because these fatty acids are the precursors to the eicosanoids. These are like compounds in the body, no, that help fight those excessive inflammatory processes. Okay, and EPA and DHA are also linked with better cardiovascular health. That's why, in order to prevent like a plethora of cardiovascular diseases, um, the consumption of foods that are rich in EPA and DHA are usually like encouraged, no, because of that role. So, the food sources of EPA and DHA are marine foods, especially fish. Okay, among the foods that we eat, fish and seafoods are the only group of foods that contain a lot of this EPA and DHA. No other food group uh, contains EPA and DHA. It's only the fish and seafoods. Okay? Yeah, like marine foods, apil na di ang algae. Okay? Kanang algae nga naa sa dagat. Okay? And human milk for infants. Okay? Because that's why very important po siya sa mga mama, no? Maternal nutrition nga dapat iyahang diet kay taas pud sa fish, because kanang mga DHA and EPA gikan sa fish pwede na siya ma-express sa breast milk, and needed yun na ni infants para sa iyahang brain development. Okay? We also have those list of dietary bioactive compounds. Okay, so we have these phytosterols. They are cardioprotective, and makitaan siya sa plant oils, fruits, berries, cereals, fortified margarine. So phytosterols are like the plant equivalent of cholesterol, and many studies have proven no, that an intake of a high intake of phytosterols actually inhibit the absorption of cholesterol, thereby reducing the blood cholesterol levels. So that's why it's cardioprotective. When you say cardioprotective, it's good for the heart. Okay. Resveratrol is a very, very potent antioxidant. Some studies have considered resveratrol as the fountain of youth, because tungod sa iyang pagka-potent nga antioxidant, it really helps uh, longevity, no, or it really promotes longevity. Okay, so um, many animal studies have shown that resveratrol supplementation lengthen the lifespan of these animals, so that might also be applicable to humans. Okay, so asa na to makita ng resveratrol? Grapes, grape wines, berries, and nuts. We also have beta glucans. This is again a type of fiber, no, soluble fiber na mention na ni Sia sa carbohydrates nga part. And iyang role is good for the heart food, no. So beta glucans are found usually from grains like barley and oats and mushrooms. Okay. CLA or conjugated linoleic acid, uh, it may be cardioprotective and anti-obesity. So the food source of CLA is meat of grass-fed ruminants like cattle or beef, okay, and some mushrooms. But dapat moderate lang ang consumption ani, because meat ba ang food source ani, and an excessive meat can also like promote no the consumption of saturated fats, which you know um, can have the opposite effect as uh, c- the opposite effect of cardioprotective. Okay. Isoflavonoids and phytoestrogens, they are anti-cancer. Okay. Makitaan siya sa soy and soy products. We also have polyols or sugar alcohols. So, di ba, anti-cardiogenic sila and some of them can serve as prebiotics. So, the food source are plant foods and processed foods. And of course, your probiotics and prebiotics, again, probiotics, live microorganisms, prebiotics are the food for the probiotics, and usually prebiotics are fiber. So, daghan kayo health benefits ang probiotics. I have already explained this sa chapter 1 pa lang. So, yeah. We also have GABA. GABA or gamma aminobutyric acid. It's actually the major inhibitory neurotransmitter of the body. So, ang iyang effect is analgesic, anxiolytic, and hypotensive. Anxiolytic is anti-anxiety. Okay? So, it's opposite of the acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is excitatory. While the main excitatory neurotransmitter is uh, acetylcholine, GABA is the main inhibitory neurotransmitter. Okay? So the food sources of GABA are vegetables, especially spinach, tomatoes, tubers, and cruciferous vegetables. Okay? Especially aning tomatoes, dako kayo ni siya GABA. Next is dopamine precursors. Kani kay mga precursor ni siya sa dopamine. Okay? So naaday mga compounds no nga gikan sa foods nga pwede ma-turn into dopamine in the body. So these are protein-rich foods, probiotics, and beans. So associated with positive mood because dopamine is called the pleasure hormone. Serotonin precursors are associated with positive mood because serotonin is a happy hormone. So ang food source ni serotonin, protein-rich foods, carbohydrate-rich foods, and probiotics. Naadiri note no, preformed dopamine and serotonin in foods cannot cross the blood-brain barrier, so they cannot act on the central nervous system. However, they may have actions in peripheral tissues and um, entero nervous system. Okay? So, unsay pasabot sa preformed dopamine and serotonin kanang in the dopamine and serotonin form na mismo. Okay? And mauning ingon nila nga mukaon daw og banana kay taas sa serotonin. Yes, taas siya sa serotonin. But actually kanang serotonin nga naa sa tong banana o sa ubang foods, dili na siya moabot sa brain nato. So therefore, wa gyapon na sila effect. So, according to studies, ang na-effect is katong mga foods nga taas sa precursor sa dopamine and serotonin. Not katong mga foods nga naanadaan dopamine and serotonin. Okay? Because again, dili man pud sila makaabot sa brain nato. Okay? So, murag kuan ra gyud na misconception ra gyud ang ingon nila nga unsa ni nga kanang makahappy ang banana tungod lagi daw kay taas sa serotonin. Okay? Dili na siya makaabot sa atong brain. Okay? Pero kaning melatonin nga naa na daan sa ato ang foods, kani siya ang makaabot sa atong brain. So, melatonin-rich foods can help in circadian rhythm synchronization. Melatonin is the main hormone responsible for dizziness, for sleepiness. Kung mutaas ang levels sa melatonin sa ato ang blood, maunang katugon ta. Okay? So, melatonin-rich foods can actually help people who find it difficult to sleep. Okay? So, aha man nato makita ang melatonin sa foods. Bananas, plums, grapes, rice, cereals, herbs, olive oil, wine, cherries, and milk. So, these are considered high in melatonin. We also have inorganic nitrates and nitrites. So these are vasodilators, so meaning they are antihypertensive. So, the food source of this are green leafy vegetables. Lahi ni siya sa organic nitrates and nitrites because kaning organic nitrates and nitrites mao ning maka-cancer. Okay? But we are talking about here inorganic nitrates and nitrites. So, lahi ang iyang effect. Okay? We also have other phytochemicals. When you say phytochemicals, these are plant chemicals, no, that are found from our diet from plants. Okay, uh, it's only plants that can produce these compounds, not the animals. So that's why they are called phytochemicals. Phyto means plants. Okay, so therefore this can only be found from plants. And usually these phytochemicals are also pigments. So they impart color no to these plants. So kani mga red, purple, blue nga ko ano nga vegetables and fruits, they are high in anthocyanins. Kaning mga yellow to white, they are high in flavonones. Okay? Isothiocyanates are richly found in cruciferous vegetables like kale, broccoli. Okay? Phenolic acids are derived from caffeine. So that's why phenolic acids are found from caffeinated foods. So the function of these phytochemicals are antioxidants. Other phytochemicals like catechins or flavanol, um, they function as they may help no, in weight maintenance, and they are also cardioprotective. So they are found from these foods. Okay. We also have procyanidins and proanthocyanidins. So they may uh, they may maintain no, the health of the urinary tract. So that's why katong mga UTI uh, pwede makahelp no kaning cranberry juice kay taas siya aning mga phytochemicals that help kill those bacteria that are causing the infection in the urinary tract. Okay. List of other dietary compounds relevant to health and nutrition. So usually kani sila kay medyo dili nindot dili beneficial ilang effects. So, first is dietary cholesterol. So, but when excessive lang, they increase risk of heart disease. So, usually found in animal foods. So, mauning animal equivalent sa phytosterols. Okay? Next is dietary purines. When excessive, increases risk of kidney stones. Restricted in patients with gout. Okay? So, kanang mga naay gout arthritis, usually naka-low purine diet. Okay? So, food sources are animal foods, especially organ meats, fish, and seafoods. Next is biogenic amines. Histamine, tyramine, and phenylethylamine. So, ilang effect sa ato is mo-constrict atong blood vessels. So, that's why vasoconstrictor sila. They may also cause skin flushing and headache when excessive. So, food source of these biogenic amines are fermented foods and other aged foods. Okay? Kana mga cheese, okay, mga wine, beer, mga bagoong, mga kimchi and other fermented foods kana sila taas na sila sa biogenic amines. Okay? Kung masobraan ra pud no. Next is carcinogens, usually mga organic nitrates and nitrites, mga heterocyclic amines. Okay? Maka-cancer. Okay? So, processed red meats, Cantonese-style salted fish, and alcohol, these are proven to be carcinogens. Okay? Processed red meats cause colorectal cancer. So, processed red meats like hot dogs, chorizo, ham, corned beef, kana, di ba? Beef loaf, kana sila. Cantonese-style salted fish causes uh, nasopharyngeal cancer, and alcohol causes liver cancer. Allergens, of course, they cause allergic reactions in some people only because many people are also not allergic to these foods. Okay? But usually, kung naa sila allergies, no, usually they are allergic to milk, eggs, fish, shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, and soybean. So these are the top 8 allergens, no, We also have, nakalimot ko diri butang, no, goitrogens. Goitrogens are those foods that cause goiter when excessive. Okay, when consumed excessive, such as raw cruciferous vegetables. But kung lutuon ng cruciferous vegetables, ma-destroy man ng mga goitrogens only when they are consumed raw and excessively, that they may cause goiter. Okay? Last are dietary psychedelics or dietary hallucinogens. So mauning mga foods nga makahay kumbaga. Okay? So we have cannabinoids, psilocybin, and toxins. Cannabinoids sa marijuana. Okay? Um, Many people, especially in the western part, no, use marijuana, no, in a lot of foods, like halo nila sa brownies, sa mga cakes, sa ilang mga juice, and even sa mga gummy bears na ay marijuana, no, in areas where marijuana use is legal. Okay, but here in the Philippines, we know that marijuana use is still illegal. Bahala na kung medical. Kung medical use ang marijuana, bawal gihapon. And actually, maunang ginakuan nato ron, no, murag mauna siya ang gina-raise karon sa Senate, because many health practitioners say that marijuana should be legalized only kung medical use. Okay, because marijuana is a very helpful plant, no, especially among cancer and other cancer patient and other patients nga wala na gana sa kaon, because marijuana is an appetite stimulant. And when these patients are administered with marijuana, mu kuan ilang gana sa pagkaon, then mutaas silang food intake and manambok sila, and that would help in their recovery. Okay? Some say marijuana is a lifesaver for them. Okay? So that's why ang uban ng mga doctors ilaha lang ginapakuan, no, nga murag under the table nga mag-prescribe sila sa marijuana, because marijuana is a good medical plant. Okay, but again, it should only be used medically, not recreationally. Okay, so yeah. Psilocybin, mao ni siya ang active component sa magic mushrooms. Di ba kay naay gagamit pud og ka ng mga mushrooms para ma-high sila. And actually, ang active compound ana is called psilocybin. Okay? So that's why ang effect is hallucination, general feeling of euphoria or pleasure, tungod ani kay ma-high sila. And kaning mad honey is like ihani found in mountainous part of Nepal, China. Kana kay naay mga bees man gud diha nga ga-feed on a specific type of flower nga ga-contain sa toxins, and kaning mga toxins maka-cause og hallucination and high. Okay? So, of course, kaning mga honeybees, ilahan na i-deposit sa ilang honey. So, kaning honey, kung kauno nila, no, maka-cause og hallucination. So, yeah. Okay? So, these are like the compounds, no, um, that have certain effects ato akong makonsume. Ang caffeine sa kape naa siya diri sa phenolic acids, no. So, aside from being an antioxidant, caffeine also helps prevent drowsiness or sleepiness. Okay, because kaning caffeine manggod nato, gina-block niya ang certain chemical reactions in the brain that prevent us from being sleepy or being drowsy. Okay, so um, research, sige, what can research say something about caffeine use? Mix ang consensus, no, some say nga okay ang coffee, some say nga dili. Okay, but one thing that they agreed about caffeine use is that caffeine should only be, or coffee should only be consumed moderately. Okay, and it's okay if moderate imong consumption, as long as moderate. So you can actually like drink coffee moderately. Okay, bisag pa na everyday na siya but only in moderation. Okay? So that's it. So that's the end of chapter 8, no. So I'm going to upload no the last nga video discussion later. So thank you.